In this video, I'll show you how I took my old, leggy, sparse Brasilia and turned it into this lush potted plant. This is how I take clippings to propagate in water until they grow healthy roots. I use a clean razor blade to take my clippings, but you can use any shears, just make sure they're extremely clean. I start by taking a cut at the bottom of the stem. That bumpy brown part is called a node. Make sure that each clipping has at least one node from which roots can grow. I start by taking a cutting beneath a group of nodes. In this case, there are a couple of leaves that all are growing from the same node. This is an example of a cutting with an unhealthy stem. Simply remove the unhealthy stem and continue cutting between the nodes. Like this video and subscribe to my channel for plant adventures. Most of your cuttings should have a single leaf like this. Continue the process until you've taken cuttings for each stem between nodes. Here's a sped up version of my process. Collect your cuttings and place them in a jar of water, changing the water every few days. In a couple of weeks, you'll start to see root growth. It's time to pot the cuttings. I've collected my materials, my rooted cuttings, some cuttings from an old plant that still have roots, a terracotta pot, and soil mixed with perlite, as well as water. My terracotta pot has a large hole in the bottom, so I'm placing stones to make sure that soil isn't displaced. Begin by filling your pot about a quarter full with soil. This will allow the roots to grow downward over time. I'm placing a few leggier cuttings into the soil first, to give the plant a full and lush look before I put in the smaller cuttings. Place these into the soil and then cover them a little bit with more soil to make sure that they're secured. Now that I've got the larger cuttings in place, I'm adding a bit more soil and shaking the pot to make sure that the soil is compacted and that there are no air pockets around the roots. At this point, before we add the smaller clippings, water the soil to help with the compacting. Sometimes my dog Homer likes to help with the potting process. If you notice that any of the cuttings are sitting too deep in the pot, lightly tug upward on them to place them higher up in the soil. Now I'm going to add the smaller cuttings to really fill out the plant. continue to add soil incrementally to secure the smaller cuttings in the pot. Now that I have all of my cuttings in the pot, it's time for a second watering. Just look how full and lush this plant looks now. It's night and day from where we started. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more plant adventures.